It's time for Where Are They Now, presented by City Heat and Air and Natural Gas, where we catch up with a sports personality from the area each and every Friday. Our next guest is from Bolivar, Tennessee, and was a terrific player at Tennessee, the 7-footer. You hear him sometimes on the Vol Network as well. Steve Hamer joins us here, former Vol on the New Sentinel Sports page. Hey, Steve, Vince Ferrara, John Adams. How you doing this morning, Steve?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for inviting me to be on the show, guys.
You're welcome, Steve. We appreciate you doing it, and I want to get your thoughts first. We'll talk about this Tennessee basketball team just real quick before we go back and talk about your time at Tennessee. But what have been your impressions of this basketball team at this point when you've had a chance to see them?
Well, hey, I can't say enough about Coach Conzo Martin and the progress that he's made with this basketball team. They play hard. They're a disciplined team. They play well together, and there's so much room for growth. You mentioned Jarnell Stokes here briefly. You can just see that his game has progressed immensely from last year, and the guard play has gotten so much better. And, with the big win last night, that could be the impetus to push us forward for the rest of the year with such a great effort last year. We're a pretty good team in Wichita State.
Steve, you mentioned what a disciplined coach Conzo Martin is. You played for a pretty disciplined guy, didn't you?
I did. I assume you're referring to Wade Houston. Well, probably not. You're referring to Kevin O'Neal.
Good one, Steve.
I
wasn't ready for that one. Kevin O'Neal. Can you tell me your best Kevin O'Neal story and make it, if not PG? Is there a great Kevin O'Neal story you can tell on the air?
I don't know. He used such colorful language. I don't know that I could, dare say anything that the FCC wouldn't fine you guys for. One of the stories that comes to mind is we were on a plane getting ready to board to go down to Georgia to play, and we had a chaplain that traveled with us on all of our flights, and we're boarding the plane at McGee Tyson Airport, and the chaplain gets on the plane, and I get on, and Kevin gets on right after me. And the chaplain turns around before he gets seated, and he turns around and he looks at Kevin and he says, "Oh, by the way, a good friend of yours told me to tell you hello and how much he appreciates what you're doing for the Tennessee family and how much he appreciates the way you coach." And Kevin O'Neal turned and looked at him and said, "Oh, yeah? Well, you tell that guy to, I can't say the rest." And the look on the chaplain's face was priceless, let alone the look on everyone else's face as well. So we were not expecting that, and the chaplain was not either.
Well, Steve, now, I remember hearing this story. I guess it might have been your senior year. I'm not sure if it was your last year or not, and it may be embellished, but there was an incident it was a home game, and there was an incident right at halftime where you were feeling bad. I don't know if you were ill. You were having, I think it was, as I recall, it was chest pains. And so you did not come out right away for the second half tip-off. And then Kevin O'Neal sent a manager back in there to deliver a message to you. And he didn't know how ill you were at the time. Do you remember this? Am I close to accurate on this?
You are about as accurate as you can get. I do some coaching here at Apostolic Christian School with our girls and boys basketball team, and I tell them often, there were times when I was literally afraid for my life going to practice. He would have loose ball drills on the pavement, on the sidewalk at Thompson Bowling Arena. So my teammates and I, we were very, very afraid to go to practice at times. But I remember that game because I was not feeling very well at all. I didn't come out for the second half, and he sent a message back, and he had no idea what I was going through. My trainer and I were sitting back there, and he had some rather choice words for me to get my hinder parts back out on the floor as soon as possible.
Well, didn't he say something like, the way I heard it was tell Steve to either go ahead and die or get back out here.
Wow.
That's what he said. Go ahead and die or get back on the floor. It's your choice.
And weren't you, I mean, you were in, were you having chest pains, or you were in pretty extreme discomfort at the time, right?
Well, I was an asthmatic at the time, and it was one of those exercise-induced asthma attacks, and I wasn't breathing very well, and I wanted to stay back in the locker room and get some treatment before I went out on the floor. And it takes some time. It's one of those things in which you just can't bounce back really quick. So he sent that message that either you're going to go ahead and fire, or you're going to get back out here and play. So, needless to say, I got back out there, and I don't know that we won the game. I don't remember, but I played as hard as I could.
Visiting with Steve Hamer, former Vol, here on the new Sentinel Sports page, brought to you by Image Matter. Steve, we only have a couple more minutes with you, but tell us the game or the moment that people talk to you about the most, if there's one, and then also tell everyone what you're doing right now.
The game that people usually talk to me about is my senior year back in 1996. We went down to Vanderbilt, and we played a ranked Vanderbilt team at their place, which is a very, very tough place to play. And we actually went down there. We were, double-digit underdogs, and no one expected us to win except the 12, 15 guys that we played with. And we went down there and played very, very well and actually beat Vanderbilt. I actually blocked a perimeter shot to tie the game. There was an effort to tie the game. So we beat Vanderbilt by 3. But that's not what people remember about that game. People remember the fact that after the game, Kevin O'Neal stands up and stands on the seats and faces the Vanderbilt crowd and makes some gestures, again, in which I can't say.
Did he tell them they were number one?
He gave them the old number one, but it wasn't with the index fingers. So we were looking at that, and I just could not believe that my head coach did that. And I was astounded. So that was one of those games.
Wow. And now tell everyone what you're doing right now, Steve.
I am teaching and coaching at the greatest school in America, Apostolic Christian School here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We are a very, very small Christian school, but it is the best job, best thing I've ever done. I've been teaching now here for 5 years and have some of the best people, some of the best staff. Our head coach is Dino Magdis, who's done a absolutely fantastic job with our basketball team and football and things of that nature. And we've got some of the greatest kids in America. So I really, really enjoy what I'm doing here.
You can also, on occasion, hear Steve Hamer on the Vol Network as well, working with Bob Kessling whenever Bert Bertelkamp is out and does a great job. Steve, super nice guy. Great to meet you recently, and thank you so much for giving us some time here this morning.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on the show, and you guys have a Merry Christmas, and talk to you soon.
Steve, do it again, and we'll definitely have you on back soon if you're willing to do it.
I'm willing to do it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. That is Steve Hamer. Enjoyed that visit. We could have gone longer with those Kevin O'Neal stories.